Okay, for this lab, I need a DC, I need a CA, which I already have. They're part of our other lab. I need an ADFS server, Active Directory Federated Services. I need a app out on the web, like Office 365. And then I need a client that needs to authenticate to that app. Could be locally, could be out on the internet. Could be in our network, could be out on the internet. Now, we don't want to allow this machine to access our user account database. But we need our users to be able to access this web app. So what's going to happen is our client will contact the web app in an attempt to sign in. The web app is going to automatically redirect me to our ADFS server to authenticate. At no point in time will I put my user account name and password on their website. Once I authenticate, this ADFS server will redirect me back, will redirect the client and a token or a claim back to the web app so I can do whatever I want to do, whatever that web app does. So basically, I'll handle authentication here, generate a claim, then redirect the client back to this web app. They do this all the time. This is how Office 365 works. ADFS isn't the only utility that does this, but this is the one created by Microsoft. It's really difficult to do. What they did in the lab, in the write-up that I'm showing you, everything's joined to the domain. Well, that's real easy to get that to work if everything's joined to the domain. We're not going to do that. This client will be like your machine at home. It won't be joined to the domain. This one won't be joined to the domain. This one will. This will be the only machine that can access our Active Directory database. The problem is, we're going to generate a certificate for this machine from RCA. Well, it's not a publicly created certificate, so it won't be trusted. So we're going to take our certificate from here and make it trusted here. We also need to tell the client to trust it. We need to create a certificate for this machine as well. Well, we're not going to contact VeriSign for this lab and create certificates for the here. So what we're going to do is create a self-signed certificate, then make our domain trusted and also make our client trusted. So we have to deal with some certificate issues, which is kind of good because we just did the certificate lab. So you're going to see how to manually generate certificates from a PowerShell command. It's an extremely confusing lab. Some of the things that they do in this lab aren't pertinent to us. Other things they do is take shortcuts by joining everything to the DC to get their own certificates. We're just going to generate certificates manually. So guys, I don't have my client set up yet, but I have the ADFS created. Guys, you don't have to follow along with this lab. This is not going to be part of your test, but I do want you to see the lab once. It's a cool lab, but it's a confusing lab. Last night, the class watched me like I was speaking Swahili. And when I said, they could go, they didn't just go, they ran. So just bear with me. I know it's a little bit boring when you're sitting and watching, but if you want to follow along and you have your infrastructure in place, you're more than welcome to. Guys, I'm just going to set up my client. Some tricks that I did here is, for this lab, I'm not going to create another DNS server. I'm just going to use the DNS on this DC as the DNS for my fake web app. I'm not going to go and register. Normally this would be registered on the internet with the ISP, and so you'd be able to just go to that website by just typing the name. So I'm going to fake that with this DNS server. I'm also going to point the client to the same DNS server so everyone can resolve names. Let me just change the client's host name and I can't do it that way. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is install Adfs on this machine.
This machine is already joined to the domain?
It is already joined to the domain. I set up the IP address. I need to make sure I sign in as a domain admin, which I'm going to do now. This machine and this machine aren't joined to the domain. Only our Adfs server is, the web app and this client are not joined to the domain. I said that for the benefit of the video because the video can't see me pointing.
I appreciate that.
So I'm going to install Active Directory Federated Services, and I'm only installing the web server just to be able to generate a domain certificate. An easy way to generate the domain certificate. Adfs, default settings, the web server, default settings. And I'm also going to create a website just to test that my certificate is trusted and there's no issues. Again, I'm signed in as a domain admin when I do this. You can also practice while you're watching if you want to do that as well. Well, that's, no, I can't move on. I'm going to walk through the wizard to configure. No, I can't do this yet either. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a website. I'm going to put it in my iNetPub folder. And And this is only for testing my certificates and generating my certificate. And I'm going to create a document called index.html. So I have that document created. I'm going to now the first thing I'm going to do is generate a certificate for this web server. We already have our CA set up. That was in a previous lab. So it's going to be my fully qualified domain name. I'm going to use my CA to generate the certificate. So there's my certificate. Now I'm going to create a site to use that certificate, to test the certificate, to make sure everyone trusts me. I'm going to navigate to the path where I created the web content. I'm going to have it listen on port 443. And I'm going to use that certificate. I'm going to use, because this script that we're going to use is written in .NET, I need to use Internet Explorer to test everything. So I'm just going to verify that I can get to my secure website. So my website is secure. I trust it, no problem. Now that I have that done, I have a certificate. I can actually now generate, I can configure the Adfs server. I'm going to create a server farm. My server farm, it's going to be the first server in the server farm. Guys, a farm is just a group of computers, all doing the same function. So I'm just going to click Next, using my current credentials to do this process. Guys, I'm not going to create a service account, and I should create a service account. So when this runs, it runs under some other account other than my domain admin, but I'm just going to use my domain admin account to start and to run this service. Right here. Normally, I should create a managed service account. I'm not going to bother with that. I'm just going to use my domain admin. I'm going to create an internal database for this. It created my database, started my database. Now it's populating it with some data. Starting the service. Okay, I'm going to click close, close. I really need to restart the service, so I'm going to do that now. Okay, while that's going on, I'm going to take my root certificate on my CA and export it so I can share it. This web app doesn't trust my CA, so any certificates that I sign from that CA aren't trusted either. So right now I generated a certificate here and it used this certificate to sign it. So I'm going to take this certificate from here, the root 1, and share it so both these machines can import it. Okay, so I'm going to go to my this machine is running slow. I'm going to launch an MMC and add some snap-ins to it. I'm going to add this certificate snap-in. Guys, when we did the CA lab, we didn't really talk about this, but this is a way you can manage certificates on a client. So I'm adding the snap-in. Under Trusted Root Certificate Authorities, I see I have one for my CA. I'm going to right-click and export it. I'm just going to leave it in CER format. I'm going to create a folder called cert and put it in that folder. Then I'm going to share that folder. So I just took my root CA, the certificate from my root, shared it, exported it. Now I'm going to share it so other people can get to it. Just so we know, the IP of my CA is 8.4. So guys, I'm going to go to my web app. Now I can import this in one of two ways. I can open up MMC again, add the certificate, snap in, then import that certificate there. Or I could just use the Internet Explorer. You can manage certs right from within Internet Explorer. If I go to the gear and go to Internet Options, then under Content, I have the certificate button. I'm going to go to Trusted Root Certificate Authorities, then import a certificate. First, I'm going to get to this machine. I'm going to access my share from the other machine. Copy it, paste it on my desktop. So that's a cert I exported already. So now I'm going to import. that certificate and put it in trusted root, because that's what I had highlighted. That's the tab that I went to. Next, finish. Showing you the signature. Do you trust it? Yes. So now, if I go to I trust that certificate. The only reason I created that website to make sure my certificate works. If you're not, if you're not getting a secure connection, you did something wrong. There's no point in going on with the ADFS lab until you got those certificates working. Guys, I also need to do the same thing for my client. Because again, my certificate authority is entrusted on the internet, so I mainly have to do this step. In real life, you most likely purchase certificates to use with these devices, so you don't have to go through this step. Guys, I can't use Edge to do this lab. I have to use Internet Explorer.
You can do the same import it?
Yep. So I'm going to launch Internet Explorer. And I'm going to pin it to my taskbar. Go to Content, Certificates, Trusted Routes, and import my certificate after I copy it over. Guys, I could just browse and go directly to the network path from here. But remember, I have to supply authentication. Let's call it search or search.
No, I see.
So I just access it over the network, place it in my trusted route, so if you look in this list, you will see that not only do you trust these publicly available certificates, you know, from like Global Sign, you know, all these ones that are trusted out on the internet. We get these through Windows updates, incidentally. I also trust the one for my certificate authority too. So any certificates signed by my CA, I'll trust now. So let's verify that we can get to the website securely. And I can. It's a trusted website, so that's good. Hopefully my ADFS has been rebooted. I no longer need the website. The website served its purpose. I don't even need IIS installed at this point. So I'm going to remove those items. I'm going to remove the website.
What if you just leave it? Does it really matter? Or
No, it doesn't really matter, but in a secure environment, if you're not running a service, if you're not using it, don't have it installed. Because if there's a potential, overflow buffer in some piece of software, if you have something installed, I'm also going to delete the content. That means that's something you need to maintain and update. If I don't need it, don't install it. That's the securest way. The securest way to install a web server is uninstall the web service. Especially in this case, it serves its purpose. I'm just going to remove it. If I click the right thing. Also, I don't want you to get confused and think that web service is being used for ADFS. It's not.
So why did you install it in the first place?
So to verify that the server.
That everyone can trust my certificate.
Okay, all right.
And the easiest way to do that is with HTTPS. While that uninstalls and it's going to require another reboot, guys, I'm going to create a self-signed certificate on my web app. Like any good admin, I searched the internet and came up with a PowerShell command that I customized. For creating a certificate. So this will create a self-signed certificate for my web app. The thing is, guys, if you use to create the self-signed certificate within IIS, it doesn't put the fully qualified domain name. It just puts the short name. So I need a web certificate with a fully qualified domain name. So that's why I had to use this method to create that cert. So guys, I'm going to show you that my host name is set, my IP is set, but guys, when you're part of a work group, you're not part of a domain, you don't see the fully qualified domain name. So if I do an IP config all, I don't see the domain name anywhere. So I'm going to fake that. I'm going to go to my network settings. Guys, I didn't do this just to purposely show you how to do this. I'm going to go to IPv4, under Advanced, and DNS. I can put in a fake name here, as if it were part of a domain. So when I click OK, and close, and do ipconfig all, it now shows up as a domain name. It's a relatively common thing to do. Linux boxes do it all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create in DNS, on my DNS server, a fake.com zone. So I'm going to go to my DC. Everyone is pointing to this DC for name resolution. So I'm going to use this to host the fake.com namespace. In real life, we're going to get this as a registered namespace on the internet. But for right now, we're just doing it internally. Again, this isn't part of the lab that I showed you from the internet. These are kind of some prereqs that you need to have done for it to work. The lab that they're using, everything is joined to the same domain, which really simplifies everything, but it really, I don't think it gives you a good understanding of what's going on in the background. So I'm going to create a new zone. called fake.com. I'm going to store it in Active Directory. Guys, and just to my IP address is 172.16.0.6. The host name is cs01-webapp. So in DNS, I'm going to create a host record for that machine. Under fake.com, new host record. And it's going to be 172.16.0.6. And I'm going to create a pointer record too. There's my entry for cs01webapp.fake.com and my forward lookup name. So on the web app, I should be able to resolve cs01-webapp.fake.com. I get a name, I get an IP back. NS lookup 172.16.0.6. I get a name back. So everything is working good as far as DNS. Okay, guys, let's take our first break. Then I'll start creating my certificate, my self-signed certificate. So if you're doing your Dunkin' Donuts run, do it now.
I mean, we can. I mean, it's the only thing you have to worry about is the application.
You already have the baseline set up. He goes as he goes. He's gonna throw like 2 or 3 kinks that makes it slow down. Yes, he's not gonna just leave the final as is. No, because then we will literally copy everything in the middle there and make it probably very quick. Then he goes, you know, something at least 2 or 3 kinks. And he's gonna say, well, I did this, but you have to do something else crazy, so the name is something else or something like that. And that's what that's too much. That's literally what's gonna make us think over and above it actually.
I'm on my second one right now.
I'm going to come back.
Give different
Especially for IT work. Especially for IT.
to the users.
He worked
Oh,
for
yeah.
1, 2, just 3, just 4. Like, notice that like all 4 did this.
Yeah.
And then you 1 and 2 do this, and then
Yeah. First one, yeah, he had us do the woman profile of the he asked us to do 1 and 2 woman profile and see if he can use it.
or 1 and 3 do something, and then 4 do something. Exactly. Or uploading, what's it called? Like whenever they log into a computer, that's where they would actually get the information from the server and load up their profile.
Do you have that video?
If I do, probably on the computer. If not, it's well, actually, but
Are you going to take them off?
okay.
Gonna take them off? Anytime soon?
I don't think they want,
I know.
I don't know how it works, but it's just you put them on there and you leave them on there. But
You can pick it up if you want to.
No, sí, claro.
And you
Are you going with the,
and I'm recording this one, so that's just for my person.
are you going with the quizzes?
I got 3 more counts.
I think I have to too. You have to be allowed for all of them. You have 100% for all of them?
No, not all. I'm somewhere in the 80s and 90s. I'm the one that's
Yeah, last time I think I did, quiz, I think was 10 and 12. So I had everything, I had
Pero mi nada más que las cosas son como
You
electrónicas.
get 2 or 3 characters, but if I get
Pero
anything
yo
above
tengo,
80,
yo tengo como
I'm not even.
above or 8?
Yeah, above 80, 80 or above.
Oh, 8, me too. It's like that.
I'm that.
And then,
If
I
I
know
go 70, then I'm
attached.
also the next to try it again, but
Unless it's the final or midterm, I can try to.
if we get 2 tries, then I'll take it 2.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. Once I get through, then go. Have you tried to record it, the questions?
No.
Question two. That's fine, but it's just like it's practice.
lo mismo, como uno de
You're
I
gonna
tried for the first 3 quizzes.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of questions.
It's actually a time
Yeah,
that
of course, right now.
it's actually a time because the actual
Is the other one the same?
the
Is it the yellow?
it was Boogie Serenova.
Who was your A plus professor?
Her name was Miss Amanda.
Or
Yeah, she works in
Y los de ellos para la casa.
Hola.
Terminamos el
Yeah,
asado.
the call center.
Empezamos.
She works for the Charles Street Department, but she's off.
I think you're here?
Yeah.
Are you looking for a job in IT
Pero yo no tomo
section?
I know I'll go down the salary if I do that. But I'm hoping
Well, you can get on the side as part-time, just to
Exactly.
get the experience.
Exactly.
Try to do it,
So I get my
No,
coding.
no es.
yeah. At least you know when
Pero-
you can go full-time.
La verdad, yo creo que
Up until now, I
como
get May 19th, but it's like a little intricacy of, once you do like you set, like you set up something prior to this, something like that. Like, getting the base lines first.
But if you would start, I don't know, like, I think you would start as somewhere like Adfs, like 1 or 2. You won't do all this.
Right.
You will just go to a factory just to set up users and go set up passwords, basics.
Gotcha.
But not actual setup, those machines.
No, actually in the, well,
Eh,
there was, what's her name? Patricia.
Or she's in,
Yeah, she worked for this company that actually did servers, and she said they just throw you, like, handle the service.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, but you learn from the process, it's not.
yeah, just do that, like just
Yeah, they just give you a bunch of services from one end to handle, to manage.
yeah,
So,
that's scary. I mean, I wouldn't know, I mean, now we've been doing servers, this is your third class, server class. We've been doing server, manage, where the whole face.
right.
That's hard to maintain, so.
What do you?
Yeah, but you
I mean, it's always, it's always set up, that's good, but it's like, if anything, like you said, you can probably create new accounts and users,
Yeah, those are fine.
passwords,
I think
you
they'll just like create users, just managing that accounts, set up password, yeah, those type of stuff. But that's why
not really, maybe key goes down, server, and
yeah, stuff, something deep.
obviously you have to create a copy for
and run that. Those people always come in with if you know you're in the field,
Yeah.
try to make some research.
Sooner or later it's gonna go.
But I would prefer to start as a help desk 1 to level 2 just to get everything is settled. After they can move away and those servers.
Exactly. My brother is actually doing that. He started with Adfs for.
The brother
Yeah.
is nice.
He's an IT, but he's like. He started working with a call center. But then
The best.
moved over to where after a while, a year, and he kind of started on that side. So anything office, basically, we're right now, then he's a right. But it took him a while to go from this to that. It was like at least 4 years. And then that job, and they selected a few people. And it was one of the people that they selected to go up to the next job. And now, he's like from, I don't know what time, maybe
This is almost time because I know for the certification that there's the FCC required me to take the FCC, which is
Are we missing anyone?
yeah.
Okay.
I think after that there's the MLS.
It's recorded. Okay, so guys, what I'm going to do now is install. Guys, instead of doing everything all at once, installing everything all at once, I'm just going to install each feature as I need it. So initially, I'm going to install a web server on my web app. While that's installing, I'm going to sign back into my Adfs to finish the removal process of the web server. Okay. My web server is installed. Now I'm going to my real machine because this script is on my real machine. Again, guys, I pilfered this off the internet. I just did a search of create self-signed certificates PowerShell. Within the first few, it actually created it gave me a link. So I'm going to connect to my web app. The name of that server is actually web app. So enter PS session, VM name, web app. This will not only create my self-signed certificate, it's also going to export it for me at the same time. The last line exports it. Guys, in real life, when you export certificates, you really should export them with a password. So if someone gets a hold of that certificate, they can't do anything with it. This will give our standard password when I export the certificate. So the first one just checks my version number of PowerShell. The next one creates my certificate. This one sets a password, a secure password. This defines my path or where I want to export my password, and this actually exports it. Highlighting everything, pressing F8. Guys, I also put this on D2L for you, this script. So there, I exported my certificate. I'm going to exit my PS session. And close this out. So if I go to my web app now, I should have a certificate there for me. And it should also be exported to my C drive. There it is. I'm going to create a folder. Move that certificate into it. This is running really slow. I'm going to share that folder because this is a self-signed certificate. No one trusts it. Generally, this is used for a lab environment. You don't really use self-signed certificates in a production environment. When I say no one trusts it, this machine doesn't even trust it. Guys, I'm just going to edit the bindings on my default website. Sorry. And add a certificate just to test it. I'll undo this in a little bit. So if I go to HTTPS, I don't trust it. So I need to import that certificate on all three machines, my ADFS, my client, and this machine itself. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm just going to use Internet Explorer, go to Trusted Routes, import it. Guys, when I created that cert, I created a PIE type of certification with that PowerShell command. So I have to use that one. It's not a CRE type certificate. I can import the certificate in a bunch of different formats. The PowerShell created in that format. So I'm going to choose that cert. It's going to prompt me for my password because remember the script exported it with a password, which is wise. I'm going to copy this, close this out, reopen it. I still don't trust it. One second, let me... just clear everything. Let me see. Oh, I know why, guys. I gotta delete that certificate. I'll show you why in a moment. Look what the name is. It's not CS01. So I need to delete that certificate and redo it. Same thing. I'm just going to go to the web app and delete that. Oh, it's not there anymore. I moved it. So I recreated the certificate. I'm going to go to my web app. Delete the old one and move this into there. Re-import it. It's a PIE type certificate. There's the certificate that I created. I really don't need this one anymore. And try again. Now what did I do wrong? I'm just going to try to manually import it here. Let me see what error I'm getting. It's still issued to web app. Let me look at my script again. I don't know why where it's finding this other certificate from. Oh. I need to change it in IIS as well. Okay, there. Okay, guys, I forgot to update IIS with the new certificate that I imported. Okay, so there, my website is using that certificate. I'm just going to remove this bind. Oh no, I just want to leave this for a little bit. I need to go import it on my Adfs and my client. So I'm going to go into Internet Explorer. Go to Trusted Root. One 172.16.0.6. It's a PIE type certificate. Let's see if we trust it. I trust it. So I'm going to do that to my client. There's my self-signed certificate. And I trust it. Okay, so I'm just going to remove those bindings on my default website. We're gonna have to play with this later. Sorry, guys. Let me fix that before I screw something else up. This machine is so slow. I want to make sure that I use Internet Explorer as my default web app. Okay, so I'm going to remove this binding. Okay, now I'm going to start configuring the rest of my web app server. I need to install some other things. I'm going to install .NET 3.5. Guys, I'm not sure that I need all of this. I definitely need the first one. That includes .NET 2 and .NET 3. We're using .NET 2 for this application. I'm going to install some software because normally the application we'll be hosting here is like Office 365. Well, Microsoft won't give me the code for Office 365. But there is a .NET Identities SDK. SDK stands for Software Development Kit. In it, there's a sample app. I'm going to use that sample app and host that sample app to test my claims. So it's written in .NET 2.0. I also need to run, to install the Identity Server runtime environment. So I'm going to install this Windows Identity Foundation 3.5. This is my runtime environment for this claims type stuff. Here's the problem. This no longer exists like a Windows Update or anything like that, or on demand. So what I have to do is I have to install this from the DVD. This I can get through normal Windows installation, but this I have to install directly from the DVD. So I'm going to click Next, and it's saying, wait, something that you're trying to install doesn't exist. Provide an alternate location of where that file is. So I'm going to add a DVD drive. And put in it the ISO for Windows 2016 server. I'm not sure which one to use. I'm going to use this one. Click OK. Now I have a DVD drive in my machine. Open it up. Under the sources folder, I have this SXS folder. That's what I need right there. So I'm going to copy this location. Then down here, supply an alternate path. SXS stands for side-by-side store. So it's saying the .NET 3.5 is not part of your typical installation, but you can get it from this location. Normally, network admins put the ISO on some sort of network share so you can access it. I'm just putting it on a DVD. So I'm supplying a path where to install the .NET 3.5 stuff.
software you downloaded from the website? Or was it on the computer already?
The ISO,
Yeah.
it's just the Windows Server Installation ISO was already on the computer. You know, this is,
Okay, so the little, what, you make the hard drive and the, change that type of thing?
yeah. Not the actual VHD image, it's the actual ISO of the installation media.
Gotcha.
And we put it on, I can't look on the virtual machine, but it's on our E drive. We have an ISO folder, and in there is all the ISOs.
Hang on.
Guys, while that's installing, I'm going to download another piece of software. The Windows Identity Foundation Software Development Kit. It's a free download. Guys, I'm getting this URL from that document, this document right here. Right here. I probably have a typo somewhere. Guys, I'm going to lower my
Security settings?
yep. IE enhanced security configuration. In real life, don't do this. You don't want to be surfing for stuff on the web.
I know.
I had a typo here, guys. ASP. Here's the download. I only need this one. Guys, there might be a sample app that I can use from here, but I don't know what effect that's going to have, so I'm just going to stick with this one. Okay. I think it's downloaded. I think I clicked on it twice. This machine is running so slow. So I've already downloaded it. I'm going to install it. Guys, I'm not going to hit run until this is done. If I try to run it without having this installed, it gives me an error. This Windows Identity Foundation 3.5. This is the runtime. So this is a little piece of software that runs on your computer, and this is used for development. The reason why we're installing this is they have a predefined sample app so we can use to host on our web app to test our Adfs setup. The only problem is the code on it is wrong, so we have to fix some code. That's what this document, that was the big thing about this document. It showed me what code to fix.
Got that off the internet as well?
Yep. Okay, that's installed. Now I'm going to install this. So what I installed is this. So here's my sample app, guys, that was installed with that software. I'm going to copy all this, go to my inetpub folder, and create a new folder for a new application. And paste it in. I'm not expecting you to know this, but the code is wrong with this thing. So what we need to do is edit this code. I'm going to edit that code. And guys, I'm getting this from the document. I need to take this code and comment it out. By doing this, that code isn't effective. I'm going to save it. Now I need to edit this document and comment out some code or delete some code. Again, you're not going to memorize this. This is just going to be something that you look up. It's not going to be intuitive at all. Guys, you need to appreciate how much work went into getting this to work and the fact that it's not going to be on your final. Okay, so guys, this whole section from here to here, I just need to delete. And save it. So now we have our web app. We got this from the software where we installed. So now I'm going to host that app in our web server. I'm going to host it as a virtual website under our default app. So, guys, I'm going to right click, go to application pool. I'm going to right click our default application pool and go into advanced settings. And I'm going to change this to true. What we're doing here, I have no clue. We are following the documentation. Okay. Now I'm going to do it again, but go into basic settings. One second. Let me go back out. Right now, it's going to default to .NET 4.0, but we need to run a 2.0 application. So I'm going to change it to a 2.0 application. Now I'm going to the default website. I'm going to edit the bindings. I'm going to add HTTPS and select our web certificate. Guys, I'm not sure when it made that, but where it made that, but it's there. So the next thing I'm going to do is add an application to our default website. I'm going to call this a claim app, and I'm going to browse to that location where we copied that code, which is inetpub claim app. Click OK. Guys, now I need to run some software that tells this machine whenever someone connects to you, before you do anything, redirect them to the ADFS for a claim. So we're going to run some software. We have a web app set up. We didn't write the code. We just copied it from somewhere else. As networkers, we're never going to write the code. Someone else is going to develop that web app. So what we need to do is tell this machine, when someone comes here, you redirect them over here. Then we got to go to this machine and says, when you get a redirect, give them a claim, then redirect them back. So we have to do it at both ends. So what we're going to do is run this piece of software that is in that SDK. We're going to run this utility right here. Okay, so we're going to browse. No, we're going to type in the path for our application to where that web config is. Don't give the local path, give the network path. cs01 webapp.fake.com/claim app. That's where that file is located. And if you go to that website, they'll find that file. The example is a local path. We don't want to use that. No, sorry guys. Let me just verify this. I got this wrong, guys. Cut. Put that down here. Here we're just going to browse. For that code. That's where we have it. That's the URL. That's the local path for the web config. When they connect to us, where do we want to send them? So HTTPS cs01-adfs, that's our other web server, contoso.com. So I was able to talk to my ADFS server and get a claim. So everything is working well up to this point. Let me just close all this out. Click next. We're going to leave the certification chain disabled because we're using a self-signed certificate. No encryption. If there's any updates to our metadata from either the ADFS, go get those updates. You know, go check for updates at a scheduled task. So if there's anything in that XML file that's changed, this will get the update. Click finish. So our web app is set up. Now we need to go to our ADFS and tell this machine, when you get a redirect, give them a claim, send them back. Because remember, who's going to talk to the ADFS? The client. So I need to give the client a claim and send the client back to here. Okay, let's take a break, guys, and then we'll do the next part. Okay, then we're almost finished. This lab is almost finished. It's not intuitive. It's not difficult once someone lays out the steps. But if you go try to read this document, it goes into all kind of weird directions that I didn't go. They created a service account. They have you do device registration. We don't need to do that. They have you create aliases and stuff like that. I didn't do that. I just created a simple DNS zone. This is the part we just finished. Now we're on this part. Okay, so let's take a break. We'll finish this part, test it, see that it works, then we're good to go. And then next time we meet, I'm going to do another lab. Central Store. And maybe Docker. We'll see how it goes.
All right, take it easy, man.
Okay, guys, this part only takes like 5 minutes. At this point, is everyone completely lost? Find it interesting, I'll look into it later, or this was a waste of my time? Guys, when you go to study for the test, set this up, you'll have a working ADFS environment to study with. Trust me. If you do any of the Office 365 stuff, this is going to be on the test. This is one of like those things like IPAM. You'll get a lot of questions on the test with it. Okay, so guys, I'm going to go to my ADFS. Now, we've already told our web app, when someone connects to you, redirect them over here for authentication. Now we need to tell this ADFS server to redirect the client and the claim back to the web app. Okay, so I'm going to go into ADFS now. I'm going to do a relay party trust. It's going to be guys, incidentally, just to add a little more confusion, this was written for 2012. The wizard that we're looking at is slightly different. Some of the things that now are part of the wizard is no longer part of the wizard, so you have to go through the wizard, then edit it to edit some things. So I'm going to click Start, and now we're going to point it to the web app. So everything on this documentation is all in the same domain. In real life, it's never going to be in the same domain. This is our web app. We're pointing it to our web app. There's an XML file that they have to read. When we opened that Fed util, it created this document that I'm pointing to. So that's where we're going to redirect them back. That's our application. Inside of that, it's going to be hosting this XML file. I'm just looking to see if I have any typos. It doesn't appear so. Okay, it does appear so. HTTPS claim app. I'm just going to open up this in a browser. Let me make sure I can just get to the web app. Okay, that's good. Let me go back to the web app and see if there's an issue with that. Okay, that's working. Let me, I might need to start this machine. Okay, I'm just going to go through that wizard again, guys. I'm not sure why it didn't work out. I'm going to rerun the fed util. I forgot an end slash, so I'm going to add that end slash. Just going to test it, make sure I have no typos. It works. I'm going to try to go back here and see if I can now connect. Let me see if it's a browser thing, if it's a firewall thing. I'm just going to try to kill the firewall. The file exists. Okay, let me try something else. I'm going to copy this file back over and see if I made a mistake.
Tells you what line to what line?
No, it doesn't. Okay, guys, I'm not going to have you sit here while I diagnose this. I'm going to diagnose this and then upload it. I'll upload the video. But you guys can go. I'm going to finish this up because it's going to be something little. I don't know what it is yet. Because this file does exist. You're welcome to stay if you want, though. That should show up.
Good night.
I think it's just a misspell or something else. No.
Honestly, I don't know. I think I know what it is. I didn't install this. ASP.NET. That's it.
That was in the instruction in the booklet?
No, it wasn't in the booklet, but the first time I dealt with this, I remember that was the issue.
Gotcha.
I was hoping to have a nice clean video.
It is welcome. Just so I have a mindset of what is the lab called, this one?
ADFS.
Okay.
It's chapter 13 in the book,
Got it.
right after certificates.
And the next lab that you're going to do is Central Store? Is that what you
Yes,
call it?
which is a part, I think, of chapter 6.
Got it.
Okay, let's see if this works out. There it is. That was it.
It's not bad, a few minutes. And that was it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, there's the name that's going to display. Guys, this isn't part of the documentation. This menu kind of changed.
Got it.
So I'm just not changing anything. I'm going to press cancel and redo it. So, okay, I'm in the wrong area, sorry. That was the problem. Let me see. It sees two names. Remember, I forgot the slash.
Yeah.
So let me.
Gotcha. So you kept the old one and
Right. So let me try to.
did you delete it from there? No.
No. Let me try to delete it from here. Just going to regenerate it. was hoping I still had that typed in here. Here's the URL for the ADFS. It's a pain.
Are we with claim?
Yeah.
Hey.
Only one identifier.
Hey. All right.
Okay, one more step. I'm gonna right click this and change add a role. This isn't, the documentation doesn't really do this justice. So this is going to be send a claim using a custom rule. I'm going to call this if you get one little space here wrong, it screws it up. Okay, so now it's done.
So you go to client.
Yes.
Go to the client. Go to the website. Try to see if you can find or.
Yeah, and claim app. Now remember, these user accounts don't exist on, I might have to create another user account. I don't know if it works for the domain admin, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work for the domain admin. Okay, I gotta create another user account. So I'm gonna go to my DC, create another user account.
Simple user one.
Yeah.
still recording?
Yeah, just, it's almost done. Wait.
Usual.
I got to work till about 5 pounds.
Okay, I'm going to. I think this is a browser thing. One more time. It doesn't help that this computer's running so slow. Okay, guys, I'm giving up on this. I'm going to redo it.
Gotcha.
Oh, there it is. It said, I think it was, so authentication true, Contoso. So it actually worked.
Got it.
I need to redo the video though, without that error.
Got it.
Okay, I had two issues on here, 3 issues.
The double name?
Well, because I put the backslash, I forgot the backslash, I forgot to install .NET, ASP.NET, and I also screwed up the certificate. Okay, but it worked. Let me just try it one more time. Took me over to Contoso, authenticated me, sent me back with a claim. Sorry, wrong browser.
Feels good to figure it out. How did it work for you the first time you tried it? Was it last night?
No. It was like I want to say 8 months ago, a year ago.
Okay.
But here's the thing. I've been trying this lab for years, like 2008, 2009 era. So it's working. You know, I'm getting a claim every single time.
Yeah.
So it is working. It does work. I'm gonna stop the video.